Hi folks, Nella here for a probably long, even for me, I'm thinking, video. Just kind of going to be really casual and go over some of the stuff that's been on my mind doll-wise and um, talking about these three here, Drew, Prince Hunter II, and Fleur, since Drew and Fleur came in on Monday. Um, so I guess this is kind of like a Wine and Dollies talk, or like a tea time with medicine or a Senba BGD sort of thing. Only instead of tea or wine, I have a Slurpee. Because even though, I kid you not, there were snowflakes this morning and last night, um, sometimes you get a craving for the frozen mind-numbing power that is a Slurpee. And this may look like one flavor or possibly two if you can distinguish the orange and the pink in this video. I know, my sweater is pretty blinding. It's actually four flavors because this is what I do. If I do a Slurpee, I get all of the non-caffeine flavors, which means there's a lot of sweet, sweet glory in here. We've got crushed peach, crushed cream soda, crushed orange soda, and then mystery flavor. There's a contest going on to name the flavor that I have at the top here. It is bright fire hydrant red. I'm going to call it mystery red number 1. Because that's what it is. That's a good sugar. That is so sugary. Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna lie, that's probably going to take me the better part of the day to finish. But it's so good and so cheap. It's so cheap. Though I feel like Freeze Your Brain from the Heathers musical should be playing right now. I don't know, maybe because I saw that that was done, there was a performance that I went to, I guess, last month, and I kid you not, for the scene in the 7-Eleven, they'd actually gotten proper 7-Eleven Slurpee cups. Like, they were, like, props that they'd made. They'd literally gotten 7-Eleven Slurpee cups just for that scene. It was so wonderful. Anyway, where was I? Dolls. Dolls. That's why you're all here, not to hear me ramble about the wonders of Slurpees. So, doll stuff. Obviously, Fleur and Drew are put together. And I have Drew with me here, but she's probably not what anyone was expecting for Drew. It's been a while. Drew, for those of you who don't know or don't remember, which is probably most of you, I'm thinking, Drew is a human who is raised by the Nixies who accidentally left Fleur behind. Technically speaking, Drew here is the actual human Fleur Royale. But the character we know as Fleur is the child who was actually raised as Fleur, so there's a bit of weird identity stuff that goes on in the story, including a lot of Drew not referring to Fleur as Fleur or calling her an imposter. But essentially there's some weird stuff going on. Drew is... I have taken to calling her my petite ball of fury. She is a little ball of fury and rage, and oddly enough, a huge amount of love as well. She has great love and great loyalty to the family of Nixies that raised her. She has, but in story, a lot of what ends up showing is her rage, is her tendency to respond to things either with violence or intimidation. She gets better. I swear she gets better. But for a while, a long while, she's really not someone you want to mess with. And whoop, there goes her hair. The I'm still having a big problem with this body. It's a mirror doll body, and I have tightened and restrung her 3 times now. I'm going to be retightening and restringing her again, probably very soon. The problem isn't that I'm restringing her wrong. I've done fine with my other restringing. The problem is that her elastic is complete and utter nonsense. I've never seen anything that bad. I actually made a video to show off the elastic, which I'll link in the description box. The first time I restrung her, because I was just blown away by what on earth she was strung with. The elastic has no tightness to it. The elastic cord that's inside the elastic that's wrapped in the fabric isn't circular like elastic usually is. It's actually squares, and I could count how many strips of flat elastic were in it. I believe the number was somewhere around 8. Problem is, I can't replace it with anything else, or anything else that I have on hand or have bought, because she is so small, and this is such a small opening that I have to get it through, that honestly, even the stuff that some of my yos are strung with, first of all, would be too short, but second of all, I think might actually be too thick. So that's really not fun, because she is completely loose. You looking at that? You can see that? The only reason she hasn't lost her wig yet is because I'm holding her middle joints still. That's the only reason why her hair isn't flying off. I mean, it means she can do stuff like this, but she can't stand. And that's really annoying, because I have her and Flair, and I'm having to pose them with Drew being dramatic and, just laying about on stuff instead of, being all up in Flair's face. The other probably really big sudden change is that Drew has long hair and it's blue. This is actually one of Flair's spare wigs. I do still have one of Drew's wigs. Haru was using it. The problem is, this is a 7/8. Her head is pretty solidly a 6. Even this 6/7 wig I have on her is really loose. As you probably know, as earlier, the wig just came off when I picked her up. But I'm actually liking how the blue looks. But I'd actually been toying with the idea of not giving her white hair again. Not going back to this. Because the entire reason why Drew had red eyes and white hair is because I had bought the original shell for her off the marketplace, and that doll came with red eyes and white hair. So I kept that, and I wrote into her description. But I've been playing with the idea of her having actually bright red hair. Like, you see the red of her tattoo here? Something like that, maybe a little darker. Maybe even, maybe something even closer to mystery red flavor number one here. Um, and the reason I was thinking red is because she has red eyes. These are placeholder eyes, by the way. These are eyes that I have listed, but they're the only thing I had in red. And there's kind of this weird thing where the other characters from the same story, the Changeling storyline, they have matching eyes and hair. Which, I mean, the color of their hair is the color of their eyes and vice versa. Finn is like that. He has bright blue hair, rather like this, and bright blue eyes with no pupils. And then Fleur here, or at least the doll version of her, I should say, has purple hair and purple eyes. The version in the Fleur in her story, by the way, actually has black hair and blue eyes, but the doll version is kind of, it's a bit weird to describe. She's both that character, but not. She's like that character at like an indeterminate future place, future point in the story, because the purple hair happens eventually. Fleur ends up dyeing her hair and then ends up letting her magic release a little bit of her glamour a little bit, so her actual hair color, which is purple, shows. Or purple or blue, I haven't decided yet. And then the purple eyes is what her actual eye color is underneath the magic that is keeping her looking human. But she doesn't do this purple and purple thing until very late into the story. Actually, at some future point I haven't even really written, because most of the story takes place when she first arrives at the Curiosity Shop. But anyway, because the doll Fleur has that going on, and the doll Finn has his blue eyes, blue hair going on, I was toying with the idea that Drew, I apologize for all the weird stuff she's doing down here, that Drew has not white hair, but bright red hair to go with her red eyes. Also because how awesome would that look? Like, how wicked would that look? I've been keeping her in the blue wig because it's one of the wigs that fits her. It's one of the colors I actually don't mind on her. I have another wig that fits, if anything, a bit better, but it's blonde. It's yellow blonde, and it is so not her. Also, if I have the blue wig, then I can put Fleur's pigtail wig on. Oops, there we go. And then they really, really look like twins. It really sells it, I think. I'm actually hoping that the weather does warm up, and I'm hoping it does. I only saw the snowflakes for a few minutes, so hopefully nothing actually sticks. The bottom layer is melting slightly, so it's not as much of a brain freeze. That's still really cold. But anyway, I'm hoping that it does warm up because I really want to give Fleur her face up. Because, I mean, look at that face. Look at that face. Oops. Both Fleur and Drew actually have 14mm eyes in right now. I think 12mm might be better. And I might see about maybe doing some musical chairs, eyeball version of musical chairs. musical eyeballs with the crew and see if I can put a different pair of eyes in Benji so that Fleur can maybe try on her default eyes, which Benji stole. Because of course he did. So I'm going to be playing around with that. This gown, I'm so happy this actually worked. I bought this really on a whim at the doll show, I guess, a month and a bit ago, back in March. And I could like just hook up like one hook or two on Lily. But like I bought it entirely thinking that this would be for Fleur, for her to have like this amazing ball gown. And it works. I can actually do up almost all of the snaps. It's a jean dress and a jean Marshall. And the thing with jean Marshall dolls is that there is a certain amount of it fits. Of course, you can't really do anything with sleeves because it's not going to fit over these hands. But even though Jean Marshall has far less up top than a Tono Tyler doll, it's still a lot more than Fleur does on this body, and Jean Marshall dolls also have very, very small waists, like incredibly small waists, which is why I can only do up on the dress underneath this 2 layers. On the overdress, I can do all of the hook and eyes up. But I'll show you what I mean by this dress, by Jean Marshall having less up top than a Tono Tyler, but still a lot more than Fleur does. Doll nudity warning, doll nudity warning. You seeing how much more boob that is? That is firmly, like, I can stick my entire thumb down there. That is like, look at how much boob that is. That is so much boob. It's really, really not noticeable when this is on top, but, it's so ridiculous. I'm really glad actually that I don't have any toner clothes to try on her because that would just be like hilarious at this point. But I love this body so much. I mean, I did a whole, 1-minute video of me just going like, oh my god, like look at the legs. But seriously, I mean like, there's, once again, doll nudity. Sorry, totally didn't warn for that. But the posing is amazing. I've never, ever had a doll so fluid in her posing. And she's strung very tightly, which means she's actually holding every single pose that I put her into, which is absolutely amazing. And I love the curve, and yes, admittedly, this is a lot of leg. That was actually my parents' first reaction was, that's a lot of leg. That was also Pei's first reaction was, wow, whoa, she has a body like you, except for those legs are really long. And I was like, yes. Yes, they are, but have you seen any of my other dolls naked? Like, they all have ridiculously long legs as part of the aesthetic. I think the only one who doesn't is Drew, and that's part of what makes her so short. Oh, she's so small. It's hilarious. Though she does have broader shoulders than Fleur, so that works out really well, actually. I just realized, so I've now done 2 of the 3 dolls that I showed you at the beginning of this video, and I should probably wrap this up soon so my camera doesn't cut me off, but I cleared off a lot of space on my cell phone just so I could make this video. I'm going to have some more Slurpee because my throat is getting dry from all this talking. That's really melting, which is nice, because then I don't have to actually scoop it up and eat it. So the last doll that I have sitting next to me is Prince Hunter II here. And I think the last time Prince Hunter was actually on camera was when I got him in September, because I kind of dropped off for a while there. So Prince Hunter here is a representation of my cat Hunter, who we put down on Monday. I mentioned that in the description of the box opening for Fleur and Drew. And I have to say, actually, that Fleur and Drew came at like exactly the right time. I was really worried once I realized that because of how long Customs was holding them, that they were going to arrive the same day that we were putting down Hunter the cat. And I was kind of worried, you know, how I was going to handle that. And actually, Ipe kind of told me about, like, don't open the dolls on that day. You're going to end up associating them with the death of your cat. But I went ahead and I opened them, and I'm actually really glad I did, because it meant that I had, in the hours leading up to the final hours of Hunter's life, instead of thinking about that, I was trying stuff on the girls. I was unstringing Viviana so I could pull out her O-ring, so I could use the O-ring in Drew. So now I have to put Viviana back together. But I mean, like, I had probably 3 hours of me just trying everything on Fleur and Drew and trying things in on them and all of that. So it actually was really good timing. And I do still have Hunter. I have a Hunter. I have Prince Hunter II here, and yes, the second refers to the fact that the first one was a cat. So this is Prince Hunter. And we've just been sitting here, drinking some Slurpee and making this video. He's actually been chilling by my laptop, while I've been watching all of your videos and commenting on that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm actually going to do a video talking about some funny stories and memories of Hunter the cat, because I am kind of thinking of how I can sort of work that in with Prince Hunter here, and that, because my original idea for a BGD character, doll, and then character based on my cat, I ended up seeing this guy in the marketplace when it was looking like we were going to have to put Hunter down back in September, and I got him and he was perfect. And then Hunter got better and we had a good run. Seriously, like his sister, who's the same age as him, is going to be 17 is going to have been with us for 17 years in the fall. Something like that. Like, I don't want to say that she actually is 17. Because technically they were, like, we didn't get them at, like, 0.0. You know, that's always how we count them. But, yeah. So I'm going to make that video after this one. I'm going to have some more Slurpee. And yeah, I should also probably get Fleur dressed, because she's just naked next to me and giving me a judging look here for leaving her naked. So I'll be back.